Beethoven's music, a sunrise coming up through the mists of a crisp fall morning on Mount St. Helens. The expressed gratitude of a lifelong friend, punctuated by a smile. The way a big mama bird with her large mama beak finds a worm and feeds it to her baby-sized beaked baby birds. The well-timed shoulder-to-chest contact of a linebacker into a receiver at precisely the moment the ball arrives in his hands, sending the ball sky high and him to the ground, while a teammate intercepts the pass and runs it back for 6. The way all of you refuse to stop celebrating in the end zone, even after multiple flags for unsportsmanlike conduct. By these examples and so many more, we see and know the world is filled with beauty. In his first Hippo lecture of the semester, Dr. Groshin will explain to you why beauty, one of the 3 transcendentals alongside the good and the true, is one of the best ways Catholics can evangelize. For in bringing people to see the beautiful God and his beautiful church and faith, we too can ourselves become more beautiful, more holy, and happy, now and for all eternity. Thank you for joining us here tonight. We sincerely hope you find something of value in this talk and enjoy yourselves along the way. And never forget, just because no country has yet elected a non-human prime minister doesn't mean that we can dream this world into existence. Maybe one of you in the audience tonight will possess the political gumption and glad-handing charisma to make this a reality. I'm saying if a rhinoceros or a moose is on the ballot, you know which lever to pull. And if that day ever comes, we in the whole world will salute you. Dr. Groshin.
Young Catholics, Protestant Christians too, often pose the following questions. How do I translate the love I have for God to others? How do I evangelize? How do I, a convinced Christian, help others become so themselves? I'm here tonight to put forth a simple suggestion. It's not being done as good as it could be, and there's an easier way, and its obviousness is a strength. I'm talking about evangelization by way of beauty. It is not in the eye of the beholder, but something more sublime still, something objective. Being factual, real, even measurable, the way a grandmother can turn a blind eye to her granddaughter, putting in 3 times the called for amount of sugar into the chocolate chip cookie dough recipe. So too should we turn eyes, open, not closed, into, not away from beauty. And beauty is the reason the grandmother allows the extra sugar anyways. Her granddaughter is beautiful and she loves her. And there is a strong connection between love and beauty. If you are now thinking that you, from your perspective, me, the you, I too am beautiful because made in the image and likeness of God, that's right. That's theologically and practically correct. You are all beautiful. But if you are now thinking that this is going to be part of the forthcoming talk, you are mistaken. There are plenty URL copy and paste thousands of truckload/boatload online Catholic channels, forums and talks, where you can find so many people happy to tell you so many nice things about how wonderful and incredible you all are. This isn't the place, I'm sorry. Also, if I've got to be honest, and we should be honest, when I look out at this crowd and try to thin splice assign a first impression grade concerning how quote unquote awesome you all appear to be, I'd say 34 out of 100, maybe 11, I don't know. Imagine a Canadian man, 6'3", let's say 210 pounds, a descendant of some heroic and duty-bound soul who braved the rains and cottage cheese-like mud pits of Passchendaele, fighting during the Great War for the British Empire, for an alliance of Britain and France and Russia, and late to the party us, the Americans, against the German speakers in former Prussia and glorious Vienna, but in what was and should be remembered as the greatest tragedy of modern times. For as Pope St. Pius X of happy memory correctly identified, he dying a month into the hostilities in August of 1914. But so why is Europe, fin de siècle, beautiful architecture and avenues, and even more beautiful manners and mannerisms, committing suicide? Why are Christians killing Christians, and for what? And no one has yet found a satisfactory answer. He, our Canadian man, 6'3", 210 pounds, 4.5840, 700-pound squat, 375 bench press, max 225 times 12 reps when he's going for that, reps, is from southeastern British Columbia. He's jacked, he's fast, he's from Canada. He's ripped and truly a very nice guy. He's Canadian. From somewhere between Creston and Lister, but above all, not too far from us, not even 200 miles away. He made it across the border, passed the Palouse by in no time, and seeing Boise on green signs pointing south, kept on driving. He made it to the Treasure Valley, but alas, lasted less than half a day. The pretentious attitudes of those in the capital, we're the new New York City of the Intermountain West. Alongside the way, the formerly empty space between Meridian, Eagle, and Nampa had been eaten up by fast food chains, big box stores, discount cell phone shops, an $8 oil change in 8 minutes or your money back. A stinker gas station, the 40th one of those. 65 billboards per mile, some of them important, like, have you checked on your dog's emotional well-being lately? Call us, K9 on the couch. Below that, on the one insane billboard, hablamos español para que tu perro no tengo que hacerlo. Ya tiene suficiente preocupaciones. A $7 oil change in 90 seconds, or well, we tried. And pop-up communities named Sherwood Forest by the Sea was just not beautiful to him. See, it came down to beauty, the absence of it. And so he left. And what sea, by the way, he thought to himself, yelled aloud as he laid on the horn in thick California-like traffic on I-84 East. Stuck between a Prius affixed with the bumper stickers Blue Girl in a red state and Trees Have Dreams Too. And to his right, a large truck with 32 oversized Trump flags. He counted them all, and the total was 32. The truck also had a bumper sticker. Guns build walls for speech freedom. Mexico will pay in euros. Badhombre.com. / todos mis amigos are mucho bad, bald ego, bad hombres. He shook his head. I don't know, lost in translation, he thought, probably because I'm Canadian. By the sea, were people in Boise so delusional, they thought the blue football field of their now irrelevant team counted as an actual body of water? Ducks do. Ducks do, but they're stupid. Is that how Boiseans want to measure intelligence? The man had been listening to Shania Twain all the way down. Yeah, she's Canadian. But that had been when the traffic had been sparse, the skies high, blue, and open, and the sun warm enough to roll down the window halfway. Shania Twain weather conditions. Now, he was just sitting here, not moving, hot. The windows and the AC both up, it being 114 degrees outside. The oft-repeated claims of, yeah, but it's a dry heat, more like mockery than mitigation. And so he put on a rap remix of Itsy Bitsy Spider and turned the volume up to max. Sometimes the response to non-beauty is doubling down. Here it worked. It made him feel better. They did get moving eventually. Soon after, he took a left turn prompted by the sign speaking of Horseshoe Bend and banks beyond, and departed the Treasure Valley and got into the winding road of 55 North, carving a path between deep forest on the right and Payette River Rapids down onto the left. And not long after that, he was able to lower the window and put Shania Twain back on. As the orange tint in the sky was slowly receding to something of a dark purplish hue, he resolved to stop for the night. And so here he is, imagine him, this Canadian man sitting, whittling around a campfire in Smiths Ferry, Idaho. Hamlet, right turn past Cougar Mountain Lodge, one bridge over sandy bottom, icy cold river water, onto a dirt road where you can visit Packer John Cabot, still standing site of the first Idaho Territorial Convention in the 1860s. If you have to ask, did he have time to go for a swim in the river before the sitting, the whittling, the fire crackling, some meat, some s'mores thing he's doing right now? I think you already know the answer. And boy, does he feel refreshed, having washed all the Boise away. And that's a beautiful thing. Cold water in the skin, and you might surmise he, this Canadian man, is beautiful himself from one anecdote alone. He once walked into a bank and said to the teller, "Excuse me, can I ask you?" She didn't let him finish. She just blurted out, "Yes, I'll marry you." He was going to ask if there was an ATM outside. They got married 3 weeks later. Turns out she'd been named Miss Canada twice in college. That's pretty cool. And this man just so happens to be my grandfather. And that's how he met my grandma at a bank in Saskatchewan in the 1950s. I'm just kidding. If I actually had Canadian grandparents, my family would be so ashamed and embarrassed by the fact they would have buried it. I wouldn't even know. When you are imagining this Canadian man, this is the third time I've asked you to do that. I don't want you to think about beauty, but rather the absence of it. Things, more precisely definitions that are not beauty. These non-beautiful, non-beauty things, imagine them as flecks of wood he's whittling off one by one into the fire in front of him. Beauty is not. People will just see the joy in my heart and then ask me why I'm so happy. The rest will take care of itself. Maybe you've heard this one before. I have a few times. If you haven't, please don't feel bad. Most likely you know a lot less things than I do. Anyone here know the best way to walk a pet armadillo? I didn't think so. I hear this a lot from Protestants, and it's well-meaning and makes sense on the surface. If you're filled with God's love, that will radiate off you and naturally attract other people. Now, I'll concede here. If this was actually the case, the literal definition no more, that would be something we could call beauty. However, the well-intentioned but fallen and frail beings we are means this approach often comes off as annoying or fake. Also, armadillos are biological reservoirs for mad amounts of disease, copious carriers, prodigious incubation agents like a lot. I don't know about you, but if I walked into a run-of-the-mill Wednesday night Bible study, everyone's wearing ear-to-ear high voltage smiles and constructing sentences with heavy word choices of happy, joy, thrill, amazing, I might leave before the good stuff gets underway. I'm saying probably don't touch an armadillo unless you are one, and if that's the case, it's probably okay, but you won't be able to understand this reassuring message due to your lack of language skills in the hear, process, store capability interface, owing to your essential armadillo nature, i.e. general armadillo-ness. Beauty is not just being nice. Beauty is not making others feel special by saying the special things that make them feel special. Beauty is not necessarily classical art or architecture as much as it is not necessarily that latest fad, the newest thing, the cutting edge, whatever, soon to be passe, done in by its own over-reliance on the time-sensitive now. Beauty is not simply physical attractiveness, whether on photographic representation or in the flesh. Someone who is considered by the world to be, quote, not attractive physically might, by the operating effects of God's grace in their soul and the good works and humility and charity and holiness flowing therefrom, have rendered their soul exceedingly brilliant, supernaturally beautiful. So the definition here certainly cannot be reduced to the physical. Beauty is not lust. We've whittled enough for one night, and that guy's got to get back to Canada first thing in the morning because Justin Trudeau just gave a speech. And when Trudeau says things, well, never mind, he just has to get home. That's what he's thinking. Now, what beauty is a transcendental. Transcendentals are properties of being, both foundational wellspring sources for and connected to all in existence, therefore of our realm, while simultaneously gateways to the higher, heavenly, essential metaphysical realm. You often hear the transcendentals thrice grouped: the good, the true, the beautiful. And the operative word here for all three is the most common, the. Not simply some good, or a true thing may be true for you, or a type of beauty. No, rather the very form of the good, the true, the beautiful. These being infinite in their conception and reach, they ultimately spring from the one non-contingent being, the unmoved mover who is the way, the truth, and the life, and in whom rest all perfections perfectly tuned for all time. This being that all men call God beholds the very essential form of beauty by his very nature. That's why we, as we go out into the world, really need to be tapping into this evangelically, evangelizing towards the beautiful God by way of the transcendental beauty which is his fully and totally. Transcendentals being transcendental, literally transcending in their activity, means they are universal and accessible to all people, capital A, all people. Everyone, no matter their age or culture or native language, all people can just get it immediately. That's what transcendentals do and are. And the ultimate beauty of God leads to appreciation and pleasure in all the lesser beauties connected to God. What makes you want to listen to this song more? A, that it's stunningly beautiful, or B, Well, it doesn't exactly sound good, but we'll give you a nice window into 1980s suburban angst. Maybe you like angst more than beauty. You probably drink black coffee, even though you hate it, for the sophistication you assume this gives you. Black coffee plain is rarely good. But the more we talk about beauty, simply vis-a-vis its own beauty because it's beautiful, the better you'll evangelize, because the closer you'll bring people to the God who is beauty personified. Good black coffee is all about the person making it, and most people make it to a quality you'd expect at a pilot rest stop on I-40 West, headed out from Oklahoma City or Kingman, Arizona, or even headed in the other direction, out of Memphis or Little Rock. That's not good, the coffee and those places. But with beauty, keep it simple, keep it basking from within, beheld from without. I'm just saying, don't you think black coffee is improved with a few subtle drops of well-foamed whole milk and honey poured directly from that plastic bear's head if you can't get a farmer to deliver it straight from the source? Beauty for its own sake, because it's beautiful, springing from a transcendental base, pointing to God, this being good evangelization. A few examples for your consideration. The movie you make doesn't have to be like that guy who beats up a computer he used for pornography with a baseball bat under the building dulcet tones of praise and worship music. A review in a secular newspaper rightfully called it, quote, as subtle as a bulldozer. Christ calls us to be sly like serpents. So when you make your movie, make it subtle, make it simply beautiful. A story that is true, characters that are authentic, and that ever old, ever new human tragic comedy of falling away, then returning to the good, to God by God's grace. Make your movie beautiful and people will know it's ultimately about reality, about God's reality, the only one. On the other hand, you can make The Passion of the Christ like Mel Gibson did, a movie that is not subtle, but is beautiful and certainly has led many to Christ and his church. I heard someone once say, and I'm heavily paraphrasing here, Mel Gibson has said and done a lot of sketchy stuff, but he made The Passion. So as far as I'm concerned, all is forgiven. And I wholeheartedly agree. The book you write, like the movie you might have made, same rules, beauty first, beauty last, evangelization flowing naturally, unimpeded therefrom. People think writing a Christian story has to be copy and pasting Bible verses. But we've got so much material at our fingertips, sin, repentance, despair in the face of our failures. But then the joy of being healed in Christ, triumph, all in every facet of the complexity of the human person, the sacred, the profane, the fallen, the redeemed, all under the umbrella of the messiness of the real. There's a reason why Flannery O'Connor is considered by some to be the best Catholic writer of recent memory, even though Walker Percy is definitely better and David Foster Wallace too. She wrote about the real, however painful it was, and so her work was both beautiful and good. Also, tons of Catholics nowadays will cite Miss O'Connor as their favorite author, or worse still, worse like, well, nurse, you can mark it on the official records, death by cringe, wear t-shirts with her face or quotes from her books without ever having read even a single page of her literary corpus. This is absolutely unacceptable. Don't wear a t-shirt with Flannery O'Connor's face on it until you've read something she wrote. But I bet when you read anything she wrote, you'll realize you should never wear such a shirt. It's unacceptable. Back to movies. Look at the Clint Eastwood film, Gran Torino. Lots not to like here. There's some blasphemy in the film, which is horrible. Much like too many a film nowadays, which is horrible and a good reminder to us that when hearing blasphemy, to offer some form of silent reparation. The classic and simple, blessed be God forever, an excellent remedy. There's lots of ethnic jokes in Gran Torino. I'm Polish, part of a people whose Navy had to build glass-bottom boats to see the old Polish Navy, which had sunk due to installation of screen doors on their submarines. So I get it. I understand people being offended by these types of jokes. Gran Torino has plenty of them, and here's an example in highly censored, edited form, which Eastwood's character delivers over beers post-work. FYI, again, please note he actually names certain ethnic groups and says something other than the censored word I provide here for offense-taking mitigation purposes. Ethnic group A, ethnic group B, and ethnic group C walks into a bar, and the bartender looks up and says, "Get the bleep out of here." You compare this to your non-subtle, computer-destroyed, happy praise and worship music movie, and you conclude what an awful, useless film Gran Torino is. But I'll pose you this counter question. The state of mankind since the fall, has it been poppy, bubble-wrapped music nice and easy, or something so horrible it's often hard to look at? Is sin just kind of bad or really, really awful? Why is it such a grace, such a blessing that Christ came to redeem us from our sins? Because we needed it, just a little bit? Or because we deserved hell, and yet dying, he destroyed our death, rising, he restored our life? The awfulness of our sin accentuates all the more the beauty of Christ's redemptive work. Blessed be God forever indeed. And so Eastwood's character is awful. That's the point. He's fallen, a fallen away Catholic, bitter, filled with venom, horribly racist, and just an altogether bad guy, as we might call him. But Christ died for him all the same. Hope remains for him all the same. That's beautiful. That's real beauty. And so when at the end of the movie, he willingly offers his life in defense of a girl who is from an ethnic group he had previously derided, facing his death in a hail of bullets, arms outstretched in cruciform pose, his death leading to her escape from the people who intended to harm her, we can almost see the biblical verse jump onto the screen. John 15:13. No man has greater love than this, than to lay down his life for his friends. Beauty for beauty's sake, because it's beautiful, pointing to the beautiful God. When you dress yourself, dress beautifully. Certainly under the modest instructions of Scripture, whose adorning, let it not be the outward plaiting of the hair, or the wearing of gold, or the putting on of apparel, but the hidden man of the heart in the incorruptibility of a quiet and meek spirit, which is rich in the sight of God. 1 Peter 3:4. Okay, but in keeping with you being the image and likeness of God, respectfully reflecting that, I think St. Thomas More said it best. I wear the hair shirt for myself, the gold for the people. Interiorly, in the inner room of prayer, visible to God alone, he was doing penance. But in the handsome garments of his outer appearance, he was proclaiming by beauty, by sight, that the interior comeliness God was cultivating in him was matched by a visible, appreciable congruence. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying here. $1,000 plus custom suit with matching shoes and an expensive watch can look cheaper than the brown habit of a Franciscan. It well cleaned, neatly pressed, perfectly befitting the symbol of living renunciation. But beauty in fashion can be a gift from God, even if the fashion industry was probably placed in some circle of hell by Dante, because someone with it, fashion sense, can make some great looks out of a few $20 bills at the thrift store, whereas those without it would remain without it, even with millions of dollars at their disposal. So it's not about money. It's not about bling or ostentatiousness, for we are always supposed to be humble, period. Rather, it's about respect, especially towards God. He made you in his own image. Try to look the part. For if you ever find yourself looking in the mirror, having given no thought to your appearance, and maybe worse still, try to look bad on purpose out of some false modesty, just think about this. If you asked a waitress in France to bring you the best wine they had, then write down her number on the napkin next to it, would it work? You, an accountant from Iowa, who knows the tax code back and front, who used to wear pocket protectors and thick-rimmed glasses, but now you run 3 times a week. You got LASIK 5 years ago in Des Moines. Visit the dentist annually, have learned how to relax, how to think positive thoughts, how to be nice to yourself. You even call your aunt in Chicago not infrequently. Do you stand a chance? What are the odds she'll go for a black coffee with you next door? If you're going to play a musical instrument, do it beautifully. No one cares about your technique or sight reading skills. Bring forth beauty or get out. If you're going to write a country song, write a lyric like Kenny Chesney did in the song Back Where I Come From. We learned in the Sunday school who made the sun shine through. I know who made the moon shine too, back where I come from. Why do you bother with basketball if you're not training each and every workout to dunk or die trying? Make your penmanship as calligraphist as it can be. When you clean your house, your apartment, your frat, clean it so it looks beautiful at the end. I don't just mean clean, that's not enough. I think you know that by now. Speak beautifully to others, pray beautifully. And this is so easy because the prayers themselves are so beautiful in and of themselves. It's like the packet says, just add water. Just start praying and you'll see the beauty start bubbling up, frothing all about you. Speaking of prayer, let's all of us here tonight commit to praying for one another forever. I'm serious. Add something to your daily intentions like, and for everyone who was at that Hippo talk at St. Augustine's that night, Lord, please bless them. So easy, so beautiful. Study beautifully. Good grades are like a clean frat. Good, but not good enough. Go beyond. Fall into beauty. And learn so as to partake of the fullest intellectual pleasures the good and beautiful God has given you to enjoy. Then make a beautiful career. a beautiful return of your talents to the demanding master, as we've heard so many times in Matthew 25. Make a beautiful life by God's grace, and people will be drawn to it and ultimately drawn to him, to God. It's like a sermon I recently heard at a 7:15 a.m. communion service at Sacred Heart in Pullman on a warm August morning. The last gasps of a summer whose pre-5 a.m. sunrises will soon surrender to Palouse winters chock full of snow, of ice, snow and ice from late October through April, but still no one knows how to drive on all the snow and ice and why. The deacon talked about a woman who confessed to being, quote, stuck in a rut with my faith, at least spiritually dry, if not like Mother Teresa's years of darkness, feeling far away from God, prayer a chore. We've all been there. And then she started taking photographs of the sky around her home. At dawn, at dusk, probably a few of those pitch black skies that would be like a black hole, if not for the shimmering stars speckled about. I looked at them, she told the deacon, and I was struck by their beauty, by the beauty of God's creation. And getting lost in this beauty, I made my way back to God. Okay, so before I conclude, let me give you the takeaways some of you have come for, and reasonably enough in bullet point format. They are 5. Number 1, God is beautiful. So being beautiful, acting beautifully, however imperfect our beauty and beautiful acts are, can be a form of honoring God, of growing more like him, just as we do the same by our penances, prayer life, humility, love, etc. Number 2, beauty is a transcendental. Along with the good and the true, therefore its form and implementation is practically endless, and therefore 3. Like our Catholic faith, it is universal. It is a universal language, understood and appreciated by the world over, therefore 4. Use the 1 and 2 connection to God and the flexibility of beauty along with 3, its universality. 2, as we started saying in this essay, to evangelize, to bring people to God, to faith, to the truth. And that's why 5. That's why 5, beauty can be so fun, so diverse, so many things. Because it being transcendently universal and related to God, it cannot fail to accomplish number 4. It will evangelize. Whatever you do, if you do it beautifully, whatever it is, it will by its own accord, because God designed it that way, draw people closer to God, the source of all beauty. Now, in actual conclusion, not the previous before I conclude, we should value beauty because of its relation to the happy end, the beatific vision towards which we are all called, for which we have been created. When we cultivate beauty, appreciate and promote it, we are already enjoying a foretaste of the glory to come. Listen to the following accounts of angels and the Blessed Mother appearing to people and tell me what stands out. When appearing at Knock, Ireland in 1879, the Blessed Mother was said to be standing a few feet above the ground, wearing a white cloak, eyes raised to heaven in prayer, but she was first described as simply beautiful. St. Bernadette Soubirous described Our Lady's appearance at Lourdes in 1846 as standing in front of a dazzling light emanating from the grotto behind her. More than 300 years earlier, a peasant named Juan Diego was ambling about when he heard beautiful music, akin to the warbling of birds, and soon he saw a radiant cloud upon which stood what he took to be an Indian maiden, yet dressed, and as striking as royalty, like an Aztec princess. She was beautiful. At Fatima in 1917, the 3 shepherd children, Jacinta, Francisco, and Lucia, spoke of seeing the Blessed Virgin thusly: brighter than the sun, shedding rays of light clearer and stronger than a crystal goblet filled with the most sparkling water pierced by the burning rays of the sun. A summer earlier in 1916, when visited by the angel of peace who taught them the Fatima prayer: my God, I believe, I adore, I hope, and I love you. I beg pardon of those who do not believe, do not adore, do not hope, do not love you. The Fatima seer saw him as a pure, vivid, perfect white light, translucent, radiant, ineffably beautiful, and inspiring an awe close to fear. His appearance, furthermore, quote, like snow that the sun shines through until it becomes crystalline. At the resurrection of Jesus Christ, an angel of the Lord who descended from heaven to roll back the stone securing the tomb is described as of an appearance like lightning, and his clothes being white as snow. So impressive, so overwhelming was this angel that, quote, the guards were shaken with fear of him and became like dead men. Suffice to say that other, higher world, heaven, is a beautiful place, an unblemished place of perfect beauty, every type of beauty. And so, to put it as simply as I can, we should all appreciate and strive for beauty, in the soul above all, certainly spiritually above all. For in doing so, we participate, however imperfectly now, in this valley of tears, in the perfect kingdom to come. I'll leave you with a few quotes from a book I highly recommend. It's by the Jesuit priest, Father F.J. Boudreau, and the title says it all: The Happiness of Heaven and How to Attain the Joys that Await You There. First, Father Boudreau states early in the book, we shall endeavor to obtain a definite idea of the beatific vision, which is the essential constituent of heavenly bliss. And it really is all bliss and beauty going forward from there. Henceforth, in this final paragraph, quoting exclusively from the book, it is the sight and knowledge of God as he is that produces this love, because it is impossible for the soul to see God in his divine beauty, goodness, and unspeakable love for the soul without loving him with all the power of its being. It would be easier to go near an immense fire and not feel the heat than to see God in his very essence and yet not be set on fire with divine love. In the beatific vision, God enables the soul to see him in all his surpassing beauty. In heaven, the soul becomes bright with his brightness, beautiful with his beauty. The soul, united to God in the beatific vision, is possessed of a dazzling splendor and unearthly beauty. Thank you. For those of you that are new to Hippo, thank you for being with us. As Nicole said, we have the AMA next week. I'm happy to take questions for a million years. I don't care, like as long as you guys want any questions, whatever. I think Father always says he wants us out of here by like 7:30, the event to go 6:30, 7:30. So we have 25 minutes. I am all yours. Whatever questions, their floor is open.
Do you really think of the Boise area in that fashion?
I love Boise. No, my wife is from Nampa. I love Boise. During the Kellen Moore years, I still would probably say the Broncos are my favorite football team, because like when I came into the Idaho family of marrying her, I went to Bronco Stadium a bunch. As a general rule, I will only ever make fun of things that I like. I think it's cool to like, if I actually hate something, I wouldn't make fun of it. So it's like, no, I love Boise. Boise's awesome.
Proud undergrad, so
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like the messiness of life. That is true. Like I-84 in Boise is really gross, right? And depressing.
I won't argue with him.
Yeah. But no, but like you won't find a bigger fan of, I love Boise. I really do, yeah.
You need to get on 95, so that way 2 blocks is south. Throughout 200 miles.
Yeah, I know. 95,
I'm just making sure you know how to get there in case you need to have like go.
if I need to leave and get out of here, yeah. Okay, that's good. If I need an exit plan, thank you. Great.
Or give a Canadian direction.
If I need, yeah. Exactly. You never can be too sure. Come on. Exactly.
Is beauty the transcendental that you're most drawn to?
Yes.
And then what?
Yeah, I'm obsessed with beauty. Like I feel like yeah, big time. I really hate I hate the false modesty around like quote unquote vanity and stuff. What I mean is like the misunderstanding, it's like I've actually heard really devout, pious people who I very much respect, who are much better Catholics than I am and like are inspirations to me, but say things like, oh, like women should never get their hair done or this kind of nonsense. Like, you should like try to look ugly almost or look gross. It's stupid. I hate that. It's like that when the Blessed Mother comes in these apparitions or anything to do the way I finish the thing, it would detract from the message if she looked kind of like whatever, right? The fact that she's so beautiful adds to her majesty as Queen of Heaven and Earth. I think the problem is when you like worship beauty or make an idol, or like I'm a beautiful person so I could treat people like garbage, that kind of attitude is bad. The classic, like, I'm a Hollywood actress, so all my ugly assistants can like whatever, I can do what I want. Like that's bad when it goes to your head. I'm totally drawn to beauty though. It's like, yeah, it's where does it not apply? Like everyone who likes a sport finds it beautiful. Every like relationship, there's no way anyone has ever gotten to a relationship without being physically attracted to that other person, nor should they, right? I would totally counsel anyone, like if you're not attracted to the person you're dating, break up with them, like with respect. But like that's a huge point. It's a huge thing. And I think even like a lot of people that come to Catholicism, whether it's Protestants or whoever, they're not so much interested in like, I read Aquinas, even though Aquinas talk about beautiful writing, but it's not so much I got into the theology. It's like I went to a mass and I was like shocked by the beauty of the Gregorian chant. Like, yeah, I think in general, I don't know. People say like, oh, if someone's beautiful, people that'll be hired more often or respected more. I am so guilty of that. Like if a beautiful person told me something, I'll definitely believe them more readily and stuff. Like, yeah, even knowing like, well, I shouldn't. Like, I think it's amazing. I think like the good and the true they're connected. It's almost like in a Trinitarian sense, you can't separate the Father from the Son and the Holy Spirit. When something is good, it is also beautiful and true. When it's true, it's good and beautiful. And but I'm really attracted to like artistic beauty, physical beauty, that kind of thing. Yes. Yeah. So I was like really excited to write this because it's not like an assignment or a chore. I think it's like maybe you're excited now about beautiful stuff. I don't know, but I am for sure. Yeah. Yes.
When does admiration of beauty fade into vanity? What's the line?
That's an amazing question. I'm definitely, I mean, I can't tell you, I don't know. I would say like, there's something so good spiritually and just as a person about common sense. Like if you're literally, I mean, I think social media is a great thing for this, right? If your whole day is spent making like TikTok videos of you taking selfies on the beach and you're like editing your features and it's taking up like 4 hours of your day, you probably have a problem with vanity, right? Like you're obsessed with that. If you find yourself like you can't get out of the house like an hour in front of the mirror and it's not to look good, it's like you just like are just like narcissist, literally the guy who like drowned looking at his reflection in the pool. And I think above all, kind of what I said to Carmen's question, like if you treat others like garbage because of your supposed like superiority to them, like I'm better looking than these people, whatever, so they're like peons compared to me. That's sinful and wrong, obviously. But I think if you appreciate like, wow, like God made me beautiful, like I love my eyes, or like I love my height or the color of my hair, like that's good. Like, there's nothing virtuous thing about like I'm so gross, I'm so awful, I hate myself. That's not good. That's not modesty at all, So I think like maybe ask yourselves, not just you, but any person, like the common sense question, like, am I making this an idol? If that's the case, it's bad. Is it the most important thing in my life? Then it's bad. But if it's a proper appreciation and like out of gratitude to God, that's awesome. Yeah, like totally. There's like, I don't know. There's like pictures of like ancient saints or something, or there's just one, even this nun. And talk about like with a nun, like it's ultimate chastity and purity. But this one nun was like so physically beautiful from like the 1890s, an old like black woman. And like that's awesome. Like she's the spiritual warrior, dedicated in this monastery, praying for the salvation of the world. Her physical beauty isn't a negative. She shouldn't like scar her face or something, or whatever, right? Like I think beauty can be a very chaste, pure, and good thing that can be cultivated. If you're worshiping it, if it's too important, or of course it falls into lust as well, obviously, right? Then it's bad. But where is the line with that? I have no idea. I can't. It's probably different for all people. It's probably like, how many beers can I have? Well, what's your tolerance, right? Some people can have 5 beers and be fine. One sip for someone's too much. I don't know.
Who are some of the, in your view, the beautiful people in our popular culture today?
Like 1990s Brad Pitt is a beautiful guy. Yeah, totally. I don't understand the people that are like, oh, like I can't say that. It's like, no, yeah, like Brad Pitt from like 7 years in Tibet is like a gorgeous, gorgeous example of like masculine beauty. Feminine, I don't know. Like I definitely have a type. Like my wife is tall and blonde. So I think like Nicole Kidman, Charlize Theron are beautiful. Of like classic, like, Hollywood actresses. Who's like under the former prime minister of Italy, Giuseppe Conte. Like he was like a non-popular pick. He was a really handsome guy, I thought. And you wouldn't think of him like in that. Whenever he gave a press conference, I was like, I want to listen to his press conference because he's a good-looking guy. So he probably has something good to say, More like I'm trying to think. Like it's a really, really fantastic question. I don't know. I'd have to. I'm obviously willing to share, but I have to like really deeply reflect. This is probably your awesome question. Like the kind of actresses or something, or the guys who are the most like sexualized, like just overtly sexy. I don't find that beautiful. And that's not because I'm saying, oh, I have to say that, whatever. Like I have to make that point. It's too much. It's too much in your face. Like someone like a Cardi B or whatever. Maybe they're a great person. I can't judge her, right? But like I don't like that when it's like out in your face, music video. I think that the very like kind of subtle beauty is very, very awesome. The director, Olivia Wilde, she's very pretty, I think. Very beautiful actress. Is she a good person? I don't know. So this is kind of against what I said earlier, like maybe you're a terrible person. But
I have a follow-up, I guess. The people you're describing seem to be focusing on the physical
sure.
characteristics. So that's but is that fair?
Yeah.
You focus on that without
totally. No, maybe not. I know. I'm obsessed with aesthetics. Like totally guilty. You know, like I love thinking even with sports, like a baseball player, right? Okay, this guy gets up to bat and he gets 2 hits, right? That's good. He's 2 for 4 in the game. People that are baseball fans, right? It's good. It's 500 batting average. But if like 2 bunt singles, I'd rather see a guy go up there and like fall over trying to hit a home run, striking out. It's bad. He failed, but it was beautiful. Like he went for it, right? Like I love just the way things look. And so you're right. I am probably being unfair towards the physical, but I'm certainly prejudiced towards that. Like I can give a classic response. Who couldn't? Like, well, Mother Teresa is the most beautiful person of modernity, and certainly talk about amazing interior beauty, right? And this perseverance, this darkness. And Mother Teresa, I think I actually remember watching her give a speech once, and I was like, I knew going into the speech, I'm not gonna freaking cry. That's so lame, And I started feeling like emotional. Like she was so beautiful. She would draw that out of me. So that's great. Well, like maybe here's a good example. Like Father Mike Schmitz is a really handsome guy. He was, you probably know this, he was a finalist for like Robin or something anyone know what I'm talking about? I'm dead serious. He was a finalist for like Robin or even the main Batman role. I forget which one. Like Father Mike Schmitz, do I watch Ascension Presents a lot? Not a lot, but he's really good theologically. He's very beautiful on the inside. But I guess this is what I'm getting at. Like, there's nothing wrong with him being a good-looking man and a good holy priest. It's not like, oh, he's probably, causes like lustful thoughts. Like, no, like, so you are right. If it's a debate between you and me, you win. I concede to you. It's not all about physical beauty. And I said that in the talk. I can't help being a sucker for physical beauty. I'm all about that. So it's like, sorry.
Thoughts on Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds, he's good. Yeah, he's fine. I think Ryan Gosling is better looking than Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. Am I right? Come on, no, yes. Way better. They're too good. See, that's what I mean. They wouldn't ask Ryan Reynolds to play Ken. Like the literal male model, it goes to Ryan Gosling. Ryan Reynolds, I don't know. Actually, seriously, come out. Again, I'm saying I'll take questions as long as you guys want, however stupid the questions are. It's a good question. I swear to you, I can't answer. I don't know. I saw Ryan Reynolds play in a movie with Sandra Bullock where they go to Alaska. I don't know what it's called. The Proposal. It's an old movie. It's like 2009. He was great. He's fine. I honestly have no opinion about Ryan Reynolds. Like he's whatever. Like he's obviously a good-looking guy being a Hollywood actor. I have no opinion. I don't like or dislike him. I just couldn't care less. I don't know. But it's a good question. So like I have no opinion. Yeah.
That segues really well. So if beauty is in fact a universal thing and it's not in the eye of the beholder, how do we then differentiate this with the fact that we now have 2 very different opinions on a very beautiful man?
Yeah, great. That's a great question. That's a great question. Okay. So I would say that seriously, haha, but like that's a deep philosophical point. Thank you. It's very good. I would say no, that objectively, because it's not in the eye of the beholder, I would have to say, like judging Ryan Gosling and Ryan Reynolds' beauty, they're both incredibly beautiful. Like they're very good looking. The beholder part would come in like preferences. Like, oh, I prefer to watch this actor or this actress on screen. They're more my type of beauty. Like I said, I married a woman who's blonde and like 5'11", and like that to me is the ideal woman. Is that an absolute rule? And that's ridiculous. No, of course not. That's where beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Like someone would say, no, I prefer this type of spouse or whatever. I happen to think blonde, tall, blue-eyed women are like the best ever. So there is some relativity on the back end of it. But I think someone who is objectively beautiful, like a Ryan Reynolds or Gosling, even someone like me would say, well, I don't really care. I'm not whatever. I still wouldn't say, oh no, he's not good looking. Someone who's like, oh, like someone's like, I'm a huge Ryan Reynolds fan. Like, yeah, with the right reason. Obviously, he's a good looking guy. He's an actor. So that's why I say the objective part would be in acknowledging that all these people are good looking, aesthetically pleasing. The preference would be the beholder part, maybe later on. If that makes sense. That's a fantastic question. Just like I said earlier, I mean, that's probably maybe I didn't even give a satisfactory answer. I don't know. But that's what I'd say. That's a really good philosophical question because yeah, I do think it's objective, and yet like there are so many choices, right? There's so many choices in life. Indeed, the person that you marry, like ice cream flavors you like, the fashion, the music. So there is a lot of relativity. How do we balance that? I don't know that I have the answer.
So what's your thought process? The example I'm going to use is Adele about a year ago. She posted a picture after she lost a lot of weight and she got criticized for losing weight and not embracing who she was before. So what's your general thought on that sort of movement?
I'm all for Adele, like being in the best shape she wants to be. Like, I think that's good. Like, I agree, like, we shouldn't fat shame people, right? That's exactly. Some people are more what used to be called husky or big bone. That's beautiful. Like, if you are,
She got shamed for losing.
I know. No, I remember, I know. Exactly. She got shamed like Adele. You used to be this role model for bigger women. What are you saying now? Or like Rebel Wilson, I think, lost a lot of weight too. And it's like, how dare you? You were my favorite, like, larger actress. Now you're telling all these large girls they shouldn't feel comfortable in their body. I know, right? Like, we should support plus size women, et cetera, et cetera. I would say, like, is I do agree actually with the kind of secular culture thing. Like, if you're healthy, that's all that matters, right? And you can be, there's all types of body types, and you can be big and be beautiful and whatever. But Adele, I think I'm all for her losing the weight. That's what she wanted to do. That's, if that was better for her health, like better for her blood pressure and like her just physique in general, like that's not, I don't think she's giving, people are wrong criticizing her. She's not giving the message like, oh, everyone who's, large is bad or something. She's saying, I wanted to get in the best shape of my life. Why is that bad? I think there is an objective standard. Someone said, like, Men's Health did did a thing on like the ideal man. Like, they asked women, like, what does the ideal man look like? And there was like body, there was height, weight, like eye color, right? And it's like, oh, it's so terrible. No, like, people just ask people and they answered honestly, like, this is what the ideal guy looks like. Men will say the ideal woman looks like whatever, right? Why was like Marilyn Monroe so famous? And now like Kate Upton is the new Marilyn Monroe, right? Why? Because people like certain types of features. There's nothing wrong with that. I think I would be like on Adele's side. Like, she wanted to lose weight. It's not a message that she was ashamed of being bigger. She just wanted to lose weight. Who cares, right? So I support her totally. Yes.
We kind of talked about like ideals and different things. What does it look like to see beauty, to choose beauty in our actions?
Yeah, I think that's actually much simpler. It's like, as Catholics, I love when Christ says in Matthew 22, it's verses 36 through 40, that love God above all, love your neighbor as yourself. And it's the law and the prophets, he says. And then in the 12th chapter of Mark's gospel, I think it's 12:33, it's tacked on. Not only is the law and the prophets, it's worth more than all burnt offerings and sacrifices. If you want to be beautiful in your actions, truly love God above all and your neighbor as yourself. Someone asked me at the last AMA last year, shout out to Nicole again, who mentioned the AMA. We can't shout out to Nicole enough. Someone mentioned at the last AMA back in the, I don't know when, spring, I guess. They were like, what can an atheist not do that a Catholic can, or something, or like whatever. And I was like, nothing. An atheist can be just as brave, just as loving as a believer. But an atheist leaves undone the first thing. He or she doesn't give God his due by worshiping him above all. So that's number one. And then number two is that kind of humanitarianism that all people will agree on, like put people before you, serve the poor. If you do that, Christ himself, it's from the God-man's lips, right? If you love God above all and love your neighbors yourself, it's the law and the prophets. It's everything that was ever in the law, anything that any holy person ever said, and it's worth more than any kind of sacrifice you could do. That's beauty and virtue, right? That's like the golden ticket to heaven. And then, of course, like the corporal works of mercy, the spiritual, beautiful things from Matthew 25. I was hungry, you gave me food, thirsty, you gave me drink. I think all those things are beautiful. It's actually, it might be very hard to do. And of course, we need God's grace, but the blueprint is very simple. Do those things. And then above all, too, right? Like, obviously, the church teaches you want to have sanctifying grace in you. Please avoid mortal sin. So your soul is not like in a state of death, in a state of pause before you get reborn by confession. So if you're avoiding serious sin, daily prayer life, doing that, you're already like radiantly beautiful inside. I think that's much simpler, actually. And I would say too, actually, really, this sounds so cheesy, but like the kind of interpersonal niceness to people, I think is really cool. I think that's good. Like, it's true. Like, secular people will say, just be a cool person, just be nice. It's true. Like, just be nice to people. Like, don't be a jerk, right? Like, don't be a jerk does not equal heaven. All these things up here are much higher, right, are more important. But I'm saying, when you're doing those two, don't also be like, well, I'm going to be like dark and mysterious by being like a jerk to people. Like, be nice, be kind, that kind of stuff. I think it's actually probably simpler, which is good, because it's way more important to be beautiful in your soul than in your body. Way more, right? But it's actually probably harder to be beautiful, more beautiful physically than spiritually, because everyone's born with certain physical limitations and whatever. And spiritually, it's like, ask God to help you. He'll give you the grace to do it. And everyone should be like Mother Teresa. Everyone should be perfectly beautiful inside.
So if appreciation of true beauty helps evangelization and connection with God, then like talking about Mother Teresa, when you're in a state of like spiritual darkness, does that equate itself to like a struggle to connect with the beauty?
So talking about her as the struggle, or she was in the struggle?
Was like, did she struggle to connect with the beauty?
I know she wrote a book. The short answer is I don't know. Here's the long answer. The longer answer. She wrote a book called like Be My Light or something. And she just said that for like 40 years or something, maybe someone knows better, but a long part of her life, she was in this kind of spiritual desert, like John of the Cross, Dark Night of the Soul type thing. I simply, from what I got from that, it was nothing she was doing. It was a gift from God. St. Catherine of Siena had a funny sense of humor towards God. She was driving somewhere and she was like in a beautiful habit and whatever, like looking her best. And the carriage hits a stone and she falls off into the mud. It's covered in mud. She's like, Lord, if this is how you treat your friends, I don't want to be your enemy, you know? And she's like, God, why? Right? And so I think there's this like, those closest to God in a way that we can't understand this side of the grave, maybe receive these kind of crazy crosses because they can handle it. In fact, John Paul II was talking about when he was at the seminary with one of the Belgian priests, and the Belgian priest said to him, I think I know why you guys in Poland got communism and all the horrible stuff, because God knew you could endure and the faith would thrive out of that. But we in the West, in France and Belgium, would have collapsed. So God only gives you that which you can carry. So Mother Teresa was so baller, like supernaturally, so superhero that God was like, and I'm going to give you full darkness and see if you can still, like Job style, can you still go and, you know, glorify me and do this work even while you are basically an atheist interiorly? A lot of atheists were like giddy, like, oh, see, she was secretly, you know, didn't believe or whatever. And she's like, no, like I just didn't receive any consolation until maybe like the end of her life. But now our faith teaches us, right? She has like probably a really high place in heaven. I mean, like maybe St. Francis of Assisi's higher, probably, but she's probably pretty high in heaven. Which, by the way, too, which is so awesome. On an unrelated note, a guy who I love, Father John Carapia, I've talked about him many times. He's like, not everyone's the same in heaven. Like, I agree with you if you're like, I just want to get to heaven, right? I don't want to go to hell, number one, like imperfect contrition, God forbid. And if I have to go to purgatory, well, that's awesome because I'm saved. But like, heaven is not like everyone goes to heaven, everyone's exactly perfectly happy. And Karapi said it's like, you're happy according to the amount of grace like you've let work within you. So you come to heaven and the container you bring is perfectly filled. Everybody is perfectly happy in heaven. But if you show up to heaven with a thimble, that's how happy you are. And a thimble is full, just like a barrel is full. They're both full. They're both perfectly happy. They're not the same thing. So Mother Teresa, with all she did, probably is like, yeah, psycho, crazy, you know, like top. She like won a gold medal in holiness, right? Or like a lot of us probably feel like, I just want to like be invited, you know? That's way too long of an answer, and I apologize. I don't know. I don't think it was that she failed to see the beauty. God was just like, you're so beautiful, you can handle this now. So here you go. It's a gift, and a gift that we can't understand, kind of thing.
What are your thoughts on people using their beauty to their advantage?
Always do that. I'm kidding. I don't know. What do you mean to their advantage? Like a person like going to their boss's office and being like, so Larry, you want to get a drink later? Like, that's awful, right? That's terrible. And that would be using their advantage, right? That classic, like, you know, people would joke with, no, people would say, but it'd be sad, right? And like, I'm really, I guess we're on secular topics tonight, and that's good. But like the Me Too movement was so great about like rooting that out. Like, this is unacceptable. Like, this is unacceptable for a director to like, you know, okay, which one of these actresses will sleep with me? They'll get the role. And then on the other side, like an actress being like, well, I'm just as good as these, but I'll go sleep with him and then he'll give me that. That's terrible and awful and sinful. It goes without saying. But I mean, that's one way of using beauty to your advantage. That's obviously horrible. To your advantage, like otherwise, like, I don't know, that probably is not bad at all. Like, okay, if you're running an ice cream stand, okay, and you're trying to be differentiated on Main Street in Moscow, and there's 5 of us, and one of us has to go out and hand cards to people, make it the most beautiful person, okay? Duh, right? Like, especially like, yeah, like if like, I don't have a sister, but if I did, and my sister was like very, very beautiful, I'd be like, sis, listen, like, I don't want to objectify you, but like all the college guys walking down, they'll take a card from you because you're a beautiful young woman. You go hand the cards out. I'll stand back here and make the ice cream. Like, that's taking advantage of your beauty. That's fine. So I think, again, probably a big line always for Catholics is lust and like true love. If you're taking advantage in a lustful sense, like I'm going to go, a beautiful woman being like, I'm going to go ask this guy out to like break his heart. Like, it's horrible, right? Or like, this guy dumped my best friend, so I'm gonna go date him just to dump him and show him how it feels. And of course, he'll say yes to go out because I'm so beautiful. That's horrible. If it's anything sinful or manipulative, but if it's like ice cream stuff, or if it's like, I can't think of an example. Yes, if it's not sinful, use your beauty to your advantage. Yes, that's what I'd say.
I protest.
You protest. Why do you protest? Denounce me.
Well, it's that slippery slope, right? I mean, now we have Bikini Club model selling Hondas and.
Which has a lot to do with Hondas and chainsaws, right?
Okay, I mean. they're using it for their-
No, it's not. Well, no, but it's time out. Because you're right, again. You're right. Your protest, like, noted, and like, I concede, you're right. But I just said that, right? I'm like, obviously, a woman in a bikini selling a Honda is using sex to sell. I'd say that's sinful and wrong as a Catholic. But like, I saw this commercial the other day, speaking of cars, and there's this very beautiful woman, and it was not sensual or sexual. It was not. She was like very modestly dressed, actually. Like even like not even short sleeves, like a sweater and jeans, but a very beautiful girl. And I watched the whole commercial. It's like, that was good. That was a good idea to have some ugly old guy sell this to someone. I don't know. So like, it was like great. I don't know. So again, I no, really, I think again, you're 2-0 against me if it's debate. I agree with you. If it always falls, no, I'm serious. Again, like just like with Jonathan, it's a very good philosophical point. If it always is a slippery slope, and beauty will always devolve into sensuality and lust, then we should avoid it, right? Christ says, better pluck your eyes out than enter into Gehenna with 2 eyes. But if you can know the line, like this car commercial that I watched, where there was nothing lustful, it was just like, she's a beautiful woman, and I want to listen to her. And there was nothing sexual or lustful, or even nothing I had to even fight of like impure thoughts. It's just like, she's very beautiful. I think that's fine. It's just like, can you avoid the slippery slope? Someone had a question over here. Yes, no?
I got one.
Go ahead.
What's the Spanish translation of what you said in your talk?
Oh, I had, hablamos español para que tú, pero no tengo que hacerlo. We speak Spanish, so your dog doesn't have to. Ya tienes suficientes precauciones. You have enough problems already. We speak, because there's times that's like, hablamos español, we speak Spanish. Like, we speak Spanish, so your dog doesn't have to on the couch to us, can't on the couch. You have enough worries not having to teach Spanish to your dog. That's what it said.
So it happened tonight, but why does it always like turn into like you always use women? You know, like can't men be this?
Oh, totally. No. Okay. I'm a guy. I mean, like, I was, thank you for coming to my defense. Yeah. The first example I gave of physical beauty was Brad Pitt, was a guy, right? And then everyone had these like hearty laughs. No. Actually, that's a great question. Seriously, to answer you seriously, why do I always imagine women? I'm a guy. I definitely subscribe to that. Like, sorry if that makes me like an old-fashioned guy. Like, I always think of as a man of beauty in the feminine form. Like if someone was going to take me through a museum of like beautiful art, and they're like, you can look at sculptures of guys or girls, I'd pick girls. Okay. Fair enough. But what I'm saying is, no, I don't, but I'm serious. Again, it's like, I love how awesome, like these questions are funny, but they're really, thank you. It's a great question. It's a seriously great question. I don't. I definitely consider the masculine and the feminine equally beautiful, 100%. If my eye is first drawn thinking of the feminine figure or something or whatever as a man, that's the same way, like the classic example, the teenage girl is boy crazy. I mean, that's fine. I think that's genetic in some ways, right? Or biological. But like my example with Brad Pitt or Ryan Gosling, I sincerely mean, I think they're beautiful. I don't mean like, oh, to be funny, I'm serious. Like Brad Pitt in Fight Club. I literally once went to the barber and I was like, I want Brad Pitt's haircut from Fight Club because it looks beautiful. I want that beauty. So like, I totally think of the masculine. Like for instance, I love athletics, like in that very Greek sense, like a quarterback, a baseball player, whatever, a sprinter, like a man is a beautiful form that like, oh, I would like to emulate and do that myself kind of thing. So it's like, your question is so good because I can answer it 2 ways. The one first being like guilty. Okay, I do. But on further reaction, no, I don't. I do think it's both ways. I don't, that to me is almost like that would be heretical to say like, okay, women are beautiful, guys are just like brutes who like earn money. This actually was this really was an old stereotype in the 50s, right? That like women have to worry about their beauty, whereas guys, why are like really beautiful women always with these old ugly guys, right? Well, obviously because the guy's the breadwinner, he makes the money, and so the woman cares about the security from the guy wants the beauty. I don't agree with that at all. Like, I think men and women equally have like an obligation to be as beautiful as God made them and vice versa. So in some, being a man probably is the first answer to it, but I don't consider like an exclusive female thing.
Would, getting plastic surgery or tattoos or any kind of piercings, is that, dishonoring your body?
There's a great quote from a Spanish soccer coach, and he's like, if I speak, I will be in big trouble, and I don't want to be in big trouble, so I will not speak. And actually look it up to way better mean. It's so funny. Okay, no, seriously, I don't have any of those things. I don't have any plastic surgery, tattoos, or plastic, or what was the last one?
Body piercing.
Body piercings, yeah. I actually am not trying to be nice or like balanced. I don't care. I don't know. Like it depends. I don't want any of those things. Out to me, with all respect, truly, I would say plastic surgery is definitely the worst. Like you're going under a knife and like editing stuff. Like I've seen tattoos that I think they look cool. Like that looks awesome, right? It's even attractive. I don't want a tattoo personally, but it's like, and the Father Mike actually and someone else did a whole thing on Catholics and tattoos, right? And he started by saying, I'm going to be very balanced, and ended up not giving any answer at all. And saying like the prohibition in Leviticus, not to mark your body. Well, Christ fulfills the law. That's the old law. That's not, and et cetera, et cetera. So anyways, I have no comment because I don't know. Like I don't have them myself, but do I think people shouldn't get them? How dare I comment? I can't comment on someone's choices like that. I don't know. So I have no opinion.
Two things on what John just said. So Kim Kardashian a while back was asked the same question about tattoos, and her answer was, you wouldn't put bumper stickers on Bentley, would you? But she's their own issue. And the second question here, to exonerate you from Carmen's question, Henry Cavill, yes. or
Thank
no?
you. Thank you. Wait, who?
Henry Cavill, yes or no?
He's very good looking. Yeah. Henry Cavill is freaking awesome as Superman, like in Man of Steel. Like, yeah, amazing. Dude. Legit, bro. Come on. Are we being serious or no? Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. But you know who's better looking than Henry Cavill? In the movie, the spy movie. What's the spy movie? No, dude. Andrew Garfield's failed. No. Also epic fail. I do not get women who rated Tom Holland. Tom Holland, are you for real?
Yeah.
No. Comparing Tom Holland to Henry Cavill's like a boy to a man. Like Tom Holland's like a baby little boy. Like, no.
What about that?
I don't know. Ben Affleck's kind of cool. Like, wait, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in like Good Will Hunting are both like really good looking dudes. Yeah. Danny DeVito is the best looking man of all time. Yeah. Yeah. No, wait, no. The movie, the spy movie, the German girl is in it. I forget her name, but Armie Hammer is in the spy.
Oh, Man's Uncle.
Armie Hammer is better looking than Henry Cavill. I think.
Yes, I do agree with that. And that movie,
Yeah.
that has like the three best looking people.
There you go. See, Carmen, I'm naming all these good looking men. See, are you happy now? No, I'm not. Not yet.
Actually, like, one of the best movies.
So good. Guys, I'll be our esteemed pastor, greatest guy of all time, Father Chase. It's past time. Wait, before you let go, like if anyone really has any more questions, I'm happy to answer them. But like at the same time, like I'm cool doing this for 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes. I don't want to keep you. Don't feel like, oh, I have to sit here and stay. Like people have already left. I'm so happy they did that. Like you have to, no, really, if you have to go, leave. But if you want to ask more questions, if anyone has more questions, I'm happy. Take a couple more if you want. Okay, well, again, I'm clapping for Carmen, Nicole. I'm clapping for Carmen and Nicole, not for me. Next week, where it's in Slice, is Nicole still here? I think it's in Slice. Tap House. Okay, I'll see you there. You guys are the best. You honor me. Thank you for coming out. It's so fun to share this with you. I'll see you next week. See you around. Thank you.